Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition video with Easter eggs, so just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet. Well, what the hell is the Ultimate Edition? How is it different from the theatrical cut? Well, it's just an extra 30 minutes of footage that really broadened the context of each of the characters' storylines. So if you were confused about why Lex Luthor seemed to have some crazy plan that developed overnight, you weren't sure about his motivations, he gets more story in this longer cut. The same thing happens with Lois Lane. There's a lot more visual Easter eggs for DC Comics as well as Zack Snyder's previous films like Watchmen. Although actually, technically, Watchmen is now part of the main DC canon in the comics because of what's going on during Rebirth, but that's like a completely separate comic book thing. The takeaway really is that all this extra stuff won't change your original opinion about the film if you didn't like it for thematic reasons. Like if you didn't like the idea of them deconstructing Batman and Superman, this longer cut of the film isn't going to change that opinion, but it will clear up confusion over certain story points, so I guess it makes the film better in that sense. And if you really do like the really extreme long cuts of the film with extra footage thrown in, if you're a really big geek for like all the different editions of the Blade Runner movie, like all the different cuts of that, it's not quite the same as that. I would argue that like the last cut of the Blade Runner film, there's like 10 different cuts of that movie. The last cut of that film is pretty amazing. This isn't like that, but it is still pretty cool, especially if you're a big DC Comics fan. So here are a couple Easter eggs that were in the Ultimate Edition that you did not see in the theatrical cut. There's a scene in a police car where someone references Delta Charlie 27 as in DC 27, which was Detective Comics 27, Batman's first appearance in the comics. At the end of the film, when Lex Luthor's being put in prison, there's actually a really fun Easter egg for Superman. So in the new Ultimate Edition, his prisoner number is AC 231940, which is the first appearance of Superman, Action Comics number 23 in 1940. But the fun thing is that in the theatrical cut, Lex Luthor's prisoner number was TK421, which is a Star Wars reference. So in both cuts of the film, Lex Luthor's prisoner number is an Easter egg. It's just that they changed it to a more Superman DC Comics-centric one in the longer version of the film. There's a big Jimmy Olsen Easter egg. So this character here is playing Jimmy Olsen in the movie, but he gets killed off immediately, so a lot of people were like, wait a minute, did Zack Snyder just kill Jimmy Olsen? That's a pretty big deal. So they took his name out of the theatrical cut. You never really hear that his name is Jimmy Olsen. Zack Snyder confirmed it after the movie came out. In the Ultimate Edition, he actually introduces himself to Lois Lane as Jimmy Olsen, and they referenced Talon, which in the New 52 was Court of Owls. So you have a little bit of Court of Owls Batman stuff happening. There's more Aquaman stuff going on. There's this secondary news reporter character who's part of the Aquaman comics. Her name is Kahina Ziri. They just go into her story a little bit more. So it's like, they're building context for more of these Justice League characters, as opposed to like the really quick scene that they got on the hard drive. Speaking of Cyborg Flash stuff, we learned that Star Labs is located in Metropolis. So it looks like they're not going to be flying all over the United States to talk to each other when it gets to Justice League. There are two big Watchmen references. There's the end is nigh on a billboard here, which is like a Rorschach sign that he carries around during Watchmen. And then during Batman and Superman's fight, when Batman has the armor on, they go down this staircase. There's this graffiti here that says, "Who watches the Watchers?" which is just a reference to who watches the Watchmen. So a lot of Watchmen, a lot of DC Comics stuff that are in the Ultimate Edition that you didn't see in the theatrical cut. We do see Ace Chemicals, but I think that we saw that in the theatrical cut too, so I don't think that was changed for the Ultimate Edition. But let me know what you guys think. If you have seen the Ultimate Edition, let me know what you thought about the extra footage. It really just builds out the rest of the characters' stories. Does a little more Justice League setup, creates more context for the DC movie universe, but I don't think it necessarily changes the film completely. But you can kind of understand why they cut some of this stuff out. Like it wasn't absolutely necessary to tell the story that they were telling. But some really cool Justice League stuff. So if you guys didn't hear, a bunch of people got to go to the set of Justice League. I talked about it a little bit in one of my previous videos. Everyone was really happy with what they saw. The costumes have changed a little bit. Batman is going to get a whole bunch of new toys. He has 2 new suits. They look a little bit more hardcore, a little more steampunky. He's going to be fighting the forces of Apocalypse, so of course he's going to need better toys. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. If you buy it on iTunes, like digitally, I think it's about $20, but the Blu-ray is about $25. So it just depends on like which format you like the best. So if you really like the film and you want this extra footage and a lot of the bonus content, there's some behind the scenes stuff, like them building the Batcave. That's about $25 for the Blu-ray. You can get the iTunes digital download if you want for about $20.
If you look at the set, every structure is actually floating. It's attached to a very low footprint on the cave. It's maybe hanging, but there is no big pillar that seems to be floating in the air.
This is Bruce Wayne's lab. We're actually controlling it from here. A lot of times actors are staring at green screens and trying to act out what the scene and the story is about. But we help provide a live experience that really helps the director inform where an actor can react to in terms of the action on the scene.
This is his main station. This is where he works most of the time. The only thing that actually touches the ground is the chair.
So actually, I'll say new round of the giveaway starts now. $20 Amazon gift card. You can use it to buy the Blu-ray. You can use it to buy whatever you want. So all you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. I'll announce the winner when I post my next DC video. So what's going to happen is they just announced Tom Felton from Harry Potter is going to be on The Flash Season 3. He'll be something of an antagonist. I have a couple ideas for characters I think that he could be playing. I do think that he's playing a comic book character, but they gave him a name that is not from DC Comics. I think that's just a big misdirect. So I'll explain when I post that later tonight. So everybody just hold the door Wonder Woman style till I post that video. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here to learn what's going on with DC Comics Rebirth and The Flash in the comics. And you can click here to learn a little bit more about what's going on with the Flash movie, how that's going to be different from the Flash TV show. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.